Good evening or afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to round number 19 here for Division here at Division 2 here at TMC. I'd like to give you a warm welcome to a sunny Mexico for qualifying this afternoon, and at the moment we have 13 drivers that are currently be battling out for victory here at Mexico. Only 3 rounds to go, including this one, so only 2 more after this, which runs me into our championship standings as the time starts to come in. At the moment we have Wesker already setting the pace on the Super, so a lot of drivers opting for the middle compound tyre strategy wise at the moment. So we'll just have a quickly run through the standings. Last week at Kota, I'm Loki was crowned champion, and he did a fantastic job to secure it that week ahead of Ferrari man of Bert, who we're riding on board now with. Bert tried to do a fantastic job and try and get himself up there. He had a tough championship to try and claw himself back into, and mathematically it's now impossible for him to catch Loki. And we interviewed I'm Loki last week, and he's having a little break at the moment. As champion, he's not here in Mexico. He's probably out there celebrating, but what that does do is opens it up a little bit in the constructors. That isn't sealed just yet, but as there's only one McLaren and one which is interesting to see, only one Red Bull here, after they successfully got a 1-2 last time out in Kota of De Keeper and I think it was Afri, if I'm sure. I don't know if I can read it on the stand. Yeah, Afri. And now only Corboy is only fighting for McLaren. So McLaren have a massive lead at the moment in the constructors. It's currently at, I think that's 72 points, and including this race there's still a maximum 129 points up for grabs. That's if both drivers were to finish top 2. So I think Corby has to do a bit of work, needs a high finish in front of De Keeper as he tops times at the moment with a 1:14.3. That's a fantastic times, and really good around this track. It's very easy to corner cut and get your lap invalidated. So there's still a little fight. I think Bert will be happy that he secured second. It isn't mathematically secured second, not just yet. He just needs 4 points out of this Grand Prix and he secures second. So anywhere from 7th up 8th upwards, and with only 13 drivers he should easily secure second place. But the battle for third should I say, is quite tight between De Keeper, Yarman, who I think he's not here. Oh yeah, he is. He's in P2. Yarman and Afri, who is unfortunately not here. That gap is only 4 points from 125 to 121, and then Matter in Williams is not too far off. He's only 20 points shy of Afri in 5th. So there's still a battle for third in the drivers, but the main focus is really on the constructors at the moment between Red Bull and McLaren. I think if McLaren were to win the race, or even I think just finish, I think it's still quite mathematically impossible for Red Bull to catch. So we've got 10 minutes left in this session here at Mexico. I shouldn't be looking at someone in the pits. We should be riding on board with our McLaren driver, who I think he's on a flyer, coming around the final sector. This very tight, intricate set of corners of turns 13 through all the way through to turn 17. 17 corners on this track. He doesn't come into pit, so he's going to finish this lap. He comes across the line and goes third. He does improve, and that's a 1:14.7. He's 4 tenths off his essential rival in this race, but importantly is up there on the second row, which should help if he was to finish there. He had a massive battle last week with Mata at the back of the grid, and them two were just going side by side for a very long time. It was very interesting to watch. Alternate with the battle that was up the front as well between two Red Bulls. But at the moment there's only one Red Bull and one McLaren. I think the only team that's got a full set of drivers are the Haas and the Williams are both here as well, so it'll be interesting to see. Haas are, I think, are still within it, mathematically still within it. They're only 100 points shy, so when there's 129 points up for grabs maximum, it's not all it's not out of it yet. If Corby was to win, both Hatties would need to finish at least second, third to try and counteract not losing out. I think McLaren are quite happy with the way they're sitting at the moment. Interesting to see. Best times all on the supers. Extremer, who hasn't set a lap yet, is out on a set of ultras, and he's on a fast lap right now, so we're going to keep on board with him as he comes through the second sector. Essentially a quick double double right hander, which only classed as one corner, so it can be seen as an 18 turn track, but that is turn 6 up towards turn 7. Now these are very tricky sequence of corners. It's very easy to either cut a corner or even just run wide, because he runs a little bit wide on exit there, but I don't think that invalidated his time. I think that's one of the corners where you can run wide and not get an invalidation. So he's coming through the final sector, final couple of corners, 14 through to 17. Does he bail into the pits, or will he want to be setting a time on these ultras? He doesn't. He bails straight into the pits, and just probably getting a feel for the track on those tyres. We're going to ride him with Yarman. He's coming through the final corner across the line. It's not an improvement. He's a little bit shy of his time, and we'll see what he can do. I'm just going to look in the chat. I noticed he's got 3 messages. There's Afri here to support his teammate when he's not about, which is good to see. And then obviously the Williams of Mata is in the chat as well. So hopefully Matt can get a good result. He needs to keep out of traffic, keep out of trouble, keep out of traffic, and should be able to get onto a good result once again. His teammate of Oshin, thought he could get me there, but that OISIN, I used to have a friend who had that name, so I know how to pronounce it. Unless it is wrong, then I do apologise. But yeah, I'm going to call him Oshin MC 38. Teammate of Mata. He's currently sat 6th, so he's beating his teammate at the moment by 3/10. So I think there's a bit more time to be found from all the drivers that are not in the 114s yet. But D-Keeper has set the mark and absolutely smashed it with 114.3. We'll see if Yarman comes into the pits. Looking ball with Oshin then as he comes through this middle sector. Turn 7 through to 11, all very tricky, and if you make a mistake on one corner, it's very easy just to lose time for the following ones. Around this very tight, and it's been he was in first just to get the car in, and quickly back up to second, around the final corner of 16, the final corner of 17. He needs to improve. He does improve, and he goes fastest. He is, just to be wary, he is on the ultra softs. So he does go fastest by just under 2/10, but he is on the ultra soft. So he is currently on pole at the moment, but is on the middle compound tyre. I've just realised that the hyper softs are the fastest tyre on here. So at the moment he is in a good position, because you can do ultras to supers, or you can do supers to ultras, or even supers to hypers. It depends on your tyre wear, but Mexico is very high on tyre wear and tyre temperatures, so they have to be very careful when trying to look after their tyre temps. We'll see if any of the drivers react. We'll go on to fitted. Yeah, all the drivers have reacted now and come out on their ultra softs. We're going to get right on board with TMC Merck. I think he's the first to cross the line other than who's loaded. So we're right on board with him, coming through the end. Oh, massive slide to keep it out of the wall. He does indeed, and that's his first flyer out the window at the moment. So he's going to have to save some EOS, save his tyres essentially, and just cool it down and go for another run. We'll go on board with who's loaded then. He's coming through the middle sector. He'll be another driver to set a quick time on the ultras. He did set his first on the set of supers, so he'll be coming through the final couple of corners. A 15.9, a lot of improvement I think can be found on the Renault driver. Now in the final corner, he needs to be up there in the 114s at least. It's a 115.6. It is an improvement, but it doesn't take him up any places because I believe it was invalidated. The streamer goes fastest of everyone on an even more alternate strategy of the hypersofts. He's looking for track position more than tyre strategy for now in that Ferrari. We'll see what TMC Merc can do. He's coming around the final corner, so he's got enough tyre life I believe to do one more flyer. Hopefully he doesn't make a mistake as he did last time. So down towards this very long home straight towards turn 1. A lot of overtaking can be done into the braking zone of turn 1. Force India gets out the way of Steve and into turn 1 it goes. This turn 1, 2, 3 section is very important for all drivers who are starting their laps. It's very easy to ride too much curb, and then with the curbs that they do have on this track, you can hobble and lose the rear. So he didn't make the same mistake as he did last time, but I believe he might have invalidated because he's now out. He's not using his EOS. Well, on my screen he's not, unless it's a glitch. He might be saving. He's not going full throttle either, so I think he's on saving. Yeah, he is saving it. He's also very low on fuel, so he's got 2.5 minutes. He might be able to get back in to the pits, put a little bit more fuel in and go out again, but other than that he's failed to set a time on a different tyre. But interesting, Oshin has now come out on a set of hypers. Looking at times that drivers are on, the keeper's come out on ultras, Corby's come out on ultras. See if we can catch a driver coming towards the end of their laps. I think Wesker's on a lap at the moment. He comes across the line. There's 1:15.0. I think that is an improvement, but he's going for another one. Got enough EOS and probably enough fuel to go for another one, so he's going to go for back-to-back times. We'll see what race he can do. Coming around the final corner, maybe a little bit twitchy. He does improve and up to 5th, just behind his teammate at the moment. So the keeper is about to start his lap. We'll keep an eye on the other times as well further down the field. We'll see if we can ride on with Bertie, who's currently trying to secure second place in the championship. He's just coming down the back straight, so he's just about to start. Wesker, where's Wesker on track? Coming through the final sector, so he wants to improve. He set his fastest on the supers, so he should be getting his 1:14s here on the ultras round the final corner, quite wide away from the apex. Because now it's a 14.0. That is the quickest time set so far on the ultra softs, and he's so close to getting to the 1:13s. It's unreal, but doesn't knock it streamer on those softer tyres. We'll go back to the keeper, who was on a lap coming through. I think he might have been validated because he's going very slowly. So he's got enough for one more run. That's the Ferrari, I believe, of Birdie coming through there. Round towards the final sector. He is pushing. So he set his best on the supers. So this is going to be should be a quicker time on the ultra soft, and it is up to 5th. He out qualifies De Keeper at the moment. So De Keeper has basically one more try to try and get himself up there, as Corby is now 3rd with a 1:14.1. All drivers out on track, and De Keeper is needing to improve. We'll see what we can find on track. Bertie is on another flyer. Oshin managed to make it across the line. just in time. Corby's coming through the middle sector, so he's down on his middle sector time now by half a tenth, and he's pushing like an absolute wild man. The TV, do not turn yourself off. That'd be a good idea, otherwise I won't be able to see the action. So the McLaren driver, solo McLaren driver, trying to hold it on for the constructors through the final couple of corners. There was a driver in front, I believe it was Alfa Romeo, so we'll keep an eye on Racy and Merck's times. Running through the final corner, the Yarman crosses the line, goes second with a 1:13.9. Corby bails out on his lap. Extremer's coming through the final couple of corners. Is he on a fresh set of hypers? He should be if he wants to be. And he bails into the pits. Bert's coming through the final couple of corners. He's down 3/10 in the middle sector, so I think he might bail out on this. Tried to go towards the line, and there's no improvement there from Bert. Oshin's coming through the final sector. There's a car in front. I believe that's the keeper. Grant slides it round the final corner. He's 2/10 up in the middle sector across the line, and he doesn't improve due to probably a lap invalidation. Oshin retires from the session, can finish his lap. Merck is, where is Merck? Oh, he bails into the pit. So there we have it then. There is our qualifying complete. At the moment, very different strategy as well. I think it'll be interesting to see the keeper's pace after failing to get a better time on the Ultra Softs. He will be starting on the Supers down in P8, 4 positions lower than his championship rival between McLaren in 4th at the moment. So as it stands, McLaren should be walking away with the constructors this weekend here at Mexico. So we just need TMC Merck to retire and we should have our classification come through. Come on, Matter, we're all waiting for you. There we go. So there we have it then. Extremer puts it on pole on the Hypersofts with a 1:13.6, 3/10 quicker than Yarman, our quickest driver on the Ultras, ahead of Wesker in the Mercedes. Corby, importantly, on the second row as well. We have Oshin on the sticking with the Ultras in 5th, Burt in 6th, Matter getting up there in 7th, ahead of the keeper in 8th on the Super Softs, as well as Merckers on the Super Softs. He's behind his teammate of Racy P1 on the Ultras. Then we have Steve, Pordy and Who's Loaded outside the top 10. Both all get a fresh choice of tyres for this Grand Prix. I'm pretty sure it's not going to be a wet start, otherwise all drivers would have been out on the Hypers. So we're looking for a dry start to this Grand Prix, and as you can see there, nice and sunny, a little bit of cloud, but I'm pretty sure rain will not be coming anywhere near this Grand Prix for now. It could be a weather change, but all drivers just adjusting their strategy, seeing what's the best, what their fuel loads are going to be like, which driver wants to fill the car up to have maximum use of that rich mixture, or just to underfuel it so they have a lighter car but have to do a little bit of fuel saving towards the end. I couldn't call a driver to take this, but I think a driver that looks like he might be able to snatch it. It could be a dark horse. It's actually Yarman started on the front row. So no formation lap. So we've got 5 lights and away we go. That's interesting to see, no formation lap, but we have a decent start from the Ferrari. But Yarman's got a fantastic start, and he looks like he might be going up the inside of Extremer, going into turn 1. Corboy sitting back, looking at the battle behind, and then you got Oshin further behind, and Yarman up the inside, nearly into turn 1. I think all drivers make it through nice and cleanly. We lead from Extremer, from Yarman. Corboy behind in 3rd. The keeper's had a fantastic start and already up into 4th position, so that slipstream down the main straight has helped. Yarman's going to try and make a move round the outside into turn 4, doesn't get the move done, and sits back side by side. You see a little battle between Wesker and the drivers at the back of the field, trying to get single file. Bertie's dropped a bit, down to 9th at the moment, so have a quick look at position changes. Who's Lodi's already up 5 positions into 8th, and we've seen a Force India cutting the corners drastically. There is Steve, and he's in 10th. But both Alfa Romeo's had a shocking start, and both dropped positions down to 11th and 12th. And Porty has lost 1 position to the back of the grid. As Who's Loaded looked like he might have been making a move on Birdie going into the final couple of corners. So to finish off lap 1, it's a very short track. Ooh, Steve and Merck getting very close, and Merck has got the move done. So we'll go back to the leaders. Extreme has got half a second lead over Yarman in second. Then you've got Cowboy making up 1 position off the start into third. The keeper having a fantastic start in fourth, but the keeper is under pressure from Oshin further behind. Tucks back in the slipstream. It looks like maybe a move of Wesker on the inside of Mata to give each other just enough room, and they're still side by side coming through the little chicane. Mata has to run wide to try and hold on. He didn't get left in much room there, but down this little mini back straight where DRS will be activated on lap 3. Mata's going to have the inside into the tight turn 4, and Mata has lost that position. Wesker is now up to 6th and trying to make some moves after losing 3 positions off the start, starting on the second row of the grid. So tyres at the moment, I think the keeper's in a good form at the moment on those super softs, but it's going to take a little bit of time before they come into their own compared to everyone around him on the ultras. We'll see what Cowboy can do. He's at the moment ahead of the Red Bull drive. I think if it was to stand like this, McLaren would be crowned champions. I think for them not to be crowned champions, I think both Red Bulls would have had to be driving and to win, and Cowboy to not finish. So at the moment I think Cowboy's doing a fantastic job and is staying ahead of the keeper on those softer tyres. Oh, it looks like Burt might be making a move on Mata. He had the inside, but Mata's going to have the inside for turn 2, and Mata holds on to that position for now, but Burt's not going to give up yet. Into the slipstream down this back straight towards turn 4. He's going to have to be forced the inside. There's a switch back up to the inside. Mata will give him the room, but Mata's going to have the inside once again for the next couple of corners and holds on just about. Will Burt try and sneak up the inside going to turn 6? He doesn't, and Mata holds on for now. So after losing the place to Wesker, he hasn't really got into his groove yet, has Mata, and has loses the place to Burt behind. Now we look at Oshin. He's putting a little bit of pressure on the back of the Red Bull of the keeper. Only 3/10 separate them, so those ultra softs are doing very well for themselves and in the groove at the moment, as 3 laps have been, as we start lap 3. Extremer still ahead by 6/10, but because of being in that 1 second window, he's now susceptible to DRS. Slipstream from Yarman going down to his long start finish straight towards turn 1. Will Yarman look to make a move up the inside? He's very close. He goes to the inside, ooh, and holds back just enough to let Extremer take that corner. But if Yarman can get an excellent run, he doesn't really have the best run out of turn 3 now towards turn 4. He's going to have DRS. He's going to have slipstream. We look at the battle behind as well between the keeper and Oshin, and Yarman is still there. Oshin looks like he's going to go up the inside of the keeper into turn 4, and I believe that's job done. Excellent stuff from Williams. And up into 4th. Now he's got to try and chase down the top 3 for a chance on the podium, because there's a 2 second gap between the leading pack of the top 3 down to 4th. Look at the gaps for Mata is now right on the back of Wesker, so Mata has had to get into his groove a little bit and is now trying to draw in that Mercedes of Wesker. Not very much overtakes to be done in the middle sector, but if you get very close, as the keeper did there, to the back of Oshin, we'll see if we can have any moves up the inside. We're going to go back to the leaders to come down this very long straight down towards turn 1. Can Yarman get the move done now? He's going to have the advantage of DRS slipstream. Probably got Rich and up the inside with the help of DRS. Oh, and Extreme is going to try and hang it around the outside. He's going to have the inside to turn 2, and Yarman is still there, has the inside for turn 3 and gets that move done, but it's held up Extreme drastically, and Corby's now on the back and wants to get involved. So Corby's going to have to do it around the outside of Extreme if he wants to gain a position, but doesn't get any moves done for now. So those Hypersofts are probably going to start wearing off now. Who's Loaded and TMC Merc having a little battle. Who's Loaded is going to have the inside into turn 6. Nice and tight. Very close. They're still side by side coming up towards turn 7. Are they going to stick it side by side to turn 7? They do indeed. Who's Loaded on the outside? It's going to have the inside and gets the move done and holds on to that position. Everyone's very wide on the exit of turn 11. Merc round the outside and gets that move completed for P9. Who's Loaded drops down to P10. Back to the lead. Will Extremer be vulnerable to Corby now? But Extremer's going to have DRS. He's going to have Slipstream. Both drivers are going to have DRS and Slipstream, so I don't think Corby, unless he's got better straight line speed in that McLaren, he isn't going to be looking to get any moves done for second place on the Ferrari. What Yarman needs to do to help Corboy should I say, is to try and break away and break that 1 second window to stop Extreme and getting DRS and Slipstream, because it's not really helping Corboy at the moment, as Oshin is already closing in by half a second already. That was 2 second gap that the keeper did have on third before he got overtaken. So Oshin is now starting to close these two in as they start to get stuck in dirty air, and whereas Oshin does have a little bit of dirty air but not enough to drastically affect his aero. Corboy is really close, and now Extremers fell out of that 1 second window on Yarman. What can Corboy do? He needs to have a great exit of turn 16 and 17 to have any chance of wanting to make a move into P2. So we go then on to the start of lap 7. Yarman is taking the lead for a whole lap now and has got a 1 second window ahead of Extremer. So Extremer is now going to be susceptible to the Slipstream and DRS of Corboy. Corboy has the inside. Extremer is going to try and hang it around the outside. Oh, tries to do a little switchback, but loses the position, and Corboy is now up into second with a chance to, a little bit of slide, with a chance to try and chase down Yarman in that Haas. He gets the double dose of DRS and holds on to second. Now Extremer, what he's going to do, he's going to have to try and stick within that 1 second window just to try and help him, to try and pull away, as Oshin is now within that 1 second of him. So I think Extremer is going to be starting to lose positions left, right and centre on those very worn hypers. Paulie has made the move on Who's Loaded after having a quite bad start. I think he's regained all those positions he lost on those supers, and Who's Loaded is now falling down the field. Penalties left, right and centre. Extreme get them on. He's probably struggling on those tyres and now susceptible for an overtake from the Williams driver of Oshin, with the keeper is actually forming quite a nice train. Extremer, he's got Oshin right on the back of him, then the keeper Wesker, Mata is in there as well, along with Burt, and they got a 2-3 second gap to Merck in 9th. So here we go then. Will Oshin be able to simulate the exact same move that Yarman and Corboy both did on Extremer down into turn 1? The DRS is not helping Oshin on Extremer's car, so he's going to have to try and get it in, maybe into turn 4, get a nice exit. He does, he's right on the gearbox. Both drivers get a DRS once again. It's going to have to go down to straight line speed, Slipstream. Will Oshin be making a lunge? He doesn't into turn 4. He's got to bide his time. Extreme is nearly out, and is out of that 1 second window of Corboy out in front, and Corboy's managed to close that gap down to Yarman. So Yarman might be on the fuel saving or ERS saving mode, and now under a second separates the top two drivers for a chance to fight out for the lead coming to the end of the first quarter of this race. No pit stops have been made yet, but it's very interesting to see whether Extremer will make a pit stop now or try and hold out as long as he can to try and switch on to the super softs to run to the end. And Extremer goes out for one more. The only problem is he's 1.6 seconds behind Corboy. He's not going to get any DRS, and he might even get swamped by both drivers behind him, Oshin and the keeper. Oshin goes for the inside. He's got the move done way before the braking zone, of turn 1, but the keeper wants to get involved as well. Oh, he clips the back of Oshin's car. I think I saw a bit of carbon fibre fly off that Red Bull, but the keeper has got the move done, importantly, quicker than any of the other drivers. But I think that there was a little bit of damage or carbon fibre come off that Red Bull as the overspeed carried him into the back of the Williams. And now Extrema and Wesker are battling. Mata wants to get involved as well. Oh, there's a little bit of argy-bargy going around turn 6. And Mata, I think, is through. Had a little bit of a slide on exit. It's going to be side by side with him and the Ferrari of Extrema. Mata gets pushed off the road. A little bit of a corner cut, but he might have to give that place back. He doesn't. So that is very fortunate for Mata there to have gotten by Extrema and not get held up. So Extrema is just losing places left, right and centre. Those tyres are worse for wear at the moment, and he'll want to think about maybe Jeff probably telling him to do a strategy call. And does he come into the pits? He does, and releases his teammate, but the keeper's in the pits as well. So there was a bit of carbon fibre fly off that Red Bull. He is having a wing change, and that's not really helped his race. He's going on to the ultra softs with 26 laps to go. It's the problem with starting on the hardest tyre you are required. If you get wing damage way before your pit stop or pit window, you're susceptible to have either harsh tyre wear at the end of the race if you want to stick with the 1 stop, or you have to be forced into the 2 stop. So a few gaps start to spread out between the front 3. 4.5 seconds separate them between Cowboy and Wesker. I've just noticed as well that Yarman pitted as well for another set of ultras. He's doing the 2 stop. He's been forced into the 2 stop. So as Yarman's tyre wear and tyre temperatures affected him so much that he's been forced into a 2 stop. He's come out with a fresh set of ultras, or is he trying to make Cowboy and Oshin and Wesker, all those drivers, react to him being on fresher rubber? So we'll see what Cowboy can do around the final corner. Does he try and block the undercut from Yarman? He doesn't. He carries on. Oshin carries on. Wesker carries on, and so does Mata. So we're going to ride on board with Mata at the moment. He's got DRS, he's got slipstream. I think Wesker's going to be a sitting duck going down this main straight, and Burt might want to get involved as well. So Mata's going to have to be forced to the outside, but he will have the inside to turn 2. Great camera angle I'm seeing here from both drivers. Wesker hands on, forces Mata wide. Mata tries to stick his nose back in, argy-bargy between the two drivers, and Burt wants to get involved. I think I saw a bit of carbon fibre fly off the Ferrari, but Wesker being very aggressive into those corners to try and hold on to that position. Holds on, and Mata now back up the inside of Burt, regains P4, but yeah, very argy-bargy from Mercedes on the Williams of Mata there, and Burt nearly gained an advantage with them 2 bashing wheels going into the first couple of corners. Just looking into the chat, Dartball, one of our Division 1 drivers, is shouting on Joe and Oshin, both leading the way in P1 and P2 respectively, so hopefully them 2 can get a fantastic result out of this. But yeah, Mata is now back within that 1 second, only 4 and a bit tenths, and Wesker is in. Wesker has felt that his tyres have died a little bit too much and releases Mata, but Mata's got some clear air now. He has the DRS down this main straight. Wesker's in, Burt's in, followed Wesker in and Who's Loaded is in as well. So all those drivers feeling that they're oh, a little bit of slide from Mata coming out of turn 3, and that promotes Extreme and Dekeeper back up into the top 8 with those 3 drivers making a pit stop. Steve's back in the pits again on a fresh set of supers. That might have been his first. We'll have a quick look. Pit stops, that one, yeah, that's his first pit stop. So yeah, Steve at the back now on a set of supers. We'll run to the end for now. So gaps starting to form a little bit between drivers. Who's Loaded is on the back of Racy, who pitted a lap earlier. So I think Racy has got the undercut worked on Who's Loaded, but Who's Loaded now trying to bide his time and heat those tyres up, and made it work. I think Wesker might come out quite a way in front of Mata unless Mata pits. But Oshin pits, so that means Mata can't pit. Will this undercut work for Wesker? Where will he come out in respect to the keeper and Extreme as well? Looked like a slow stop, but I think it's a little bit of a glitch. So we'll go on board with Extreme. He's down the pit straight. I think the undercut has worked massively in Extreme's favour. Got the jump on Oshin. Where's the keeper going to come? He's through as well. So Oshin staying out a little bit longer, but has come out on a set of hypers. Very interesting there to see. He's on a set of hypers, and what has just happened? Have I just been kicked from the session? Brilliant. Migrating host. What has happened there? What is going on here? Brilliant. It's done it again. I love this. We'll see if I can get back in. I normally can. I love it when it does this. Don't know why. We'll get back in as quickly as possible. Cheers game, love you. I'll be 1 second. Have any internet issues with this thing, considering I've got some excellent internet to be running with. So luckily I've got some of these drivers as friends, so I can join back through here.